Hello Internet, welcome back to Tromsø Twilight, the channel where I, Vincent, talk to you, the world, about books, movies, music that I enjoy or find interesting. Today we're going to be talking about the movie The Outrun, which was released in 2024 but has been shown here more recently. I saw it yesterday at the local cinema. This movie is directed by Laura Fingscheidt. She wrote it along with Amy Libtrot, who wrote the original story, and Daisy Lewis. I guess they either collaborated on the screenplay or they did different kind of passes at the screenplay. The movie itself is about a young woman called Rona. I think she's 29 years old. She's been doing a PhD in biology, but she's had to take a break from it because she has serious issues with alcohol addiction, and her life has been falling apart. So she has returned to the place where she comes from to try to get sober or try to stay sober. She comes from the Orkney Islands, which are a group of islands off the coast of the Scottish Highlands. I think she's on the island of Orkney at the beginning, and she moves further out as the film goes on. The central character, Rona, is played by Saoirse Ronan, who you might know from Hannah or from Ladybird or from a number of other films. I think only seen her in those two, maybe in one other thing. She's always really impressed me when I've seen her. That's one reason I wanted to see the film. But another reason to see the film is that the cinematography is absolutely beautiful. You have these incredible locations in the Orkneys, and it's just so gorgeously shot. It starts with sequences of seals underwater with a voiceover from Saoirse Ronan about folk tales of people who take the form of seals, or who are kind of beings that look like seals in the daytime, but they come onto the shore at night and shed their seal bodies and dance naked. That's kind of a metaphor for the transformational process that she's trying to go through in the course of the film. The person I saw the film with said that they found it a little confusing in terms of its timeline. I would suggest that the film follows a linear narrative because it starts essentially with Rona returning to the Orkneys, and it follows her through her process in getting sober. The storyline from her going to the Orkneys to the point where she appears to be, perhaps she's leaving at the end, is linear and what's the word I'm looking for? Like consecutive. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it'll do. But there are kind of associative flashbacks or memories that come to her throughout the film, so that the story of her past is told through fragments, which gives the impression of hopping around a lot in time. But I think what's happening in the film is that as she's stopped using alcohol, the memories and the feelings and the things that she is dealing with or trying to process are kind of coming to her through these fragments, so that she can get to a point where she's ready to move on with her life. And it's very recognizable as something that occurs within sobriety, that the more painful or the more difficult these memories are, the more she's tempted to start to drink again. But you also see the traumas and the terrible experiences that she's had through alcohol that are also coming back to her at the same time as earlier memories of childhood are coming back to her. So you get very clearly the image of why she should not or can't start to drink again. Saoirse Ronan is Irish. The Orkneys are Scottish Islands. Her accent not being like an Orkney accent, although she does sound Scottish to my ears in the film, is explained by the fact that her parents are English. So they must have moved there to start a farm or something, and she has grown up on this farm. You also get this backstory of her relationship to her parents. She appears to be a single child. Her father had very serious bipolar disorder, and her mother seems to have become a born-again Christian, perhaps to deal with the difficulties of living in a very rural, isolated location with a man with very big mental health challenges. And you see these stories or these moments, these episodes of Rona as a child trying to understand this chaotic situation going on around her. It's a very considered, very beautiful, very tender film. It's one of the few films I've ever seen that's not really about addiction as much as it's about the process of sobriety and living with an addiction but being sober. There are some great films about alcoholism. The ones that I think of immediately are Leaving Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage, With Nail and I. There was another round, the Danish film a few years ago, which is called Et Glas Til in Scandinavia. The only film I could think of that was a film about sobriety was the Sandra Bullock movie 28 Days, but that movie is all about rehab, whereas the fact that Rona in this film has been to rehab is kind of referenced, and you see some key sequences from it, notably when she says to somebody else in the group, I can't be happy sober. And this is kind of her battle in the film, that she can't access joy because of her traumatic childhood. So the only way she can get in contact with joy is through alcohol. So you see these relationships in rehab and these moments from rehab, but most of the film is about staying sober, living after rehab. And I don't think I've seen that movie before. So I really liked it. It looks incredible, really beautiful. It has a very slow pace, which kind of opens up space for you to have your own thoughts and memories and reflections and almost daydream, and then you come back to the film. At the same time as there are some very intense, difficult sequences where she's playing very, very drunk, blackout drunk, which only strengthen my impression that she's a very, very talented actress. Shout out also to Stephen Delane, who I thought was Jonathan Pryce for the whole running time of the film, but it wasn't. It was Stephen Delane. He plays her father. It's quite a minor role, but he really, really makes a difference in the film. That's going to be it for me for now on the Outrun. This was an impressive film, and if you haven't seen it, but it sounds interesting from my description, I would definitely recommend you to try and see it on the big screen because of the landscape, because of the form, because of the cinematography. If you have seen it, please drop me a comment, let me know what you thought about it, or I'd love to hear from you if you have any recommendations for other films about similar subjects or that this video made you think about. I'm always open to take recommendations. Like and subscribe if you would like to. If you wouldn't like to, don't do it. Okay, take care. Thanks for now.